Okay, we're back. Back underway for qualifying here in Qatar. Apologies for that. We are up and running once again here in Q2. We're down to our 15 of our 19 cars on the circuit, Ben, as far as I know. And we're all set for what should be an exciting second part of qualifying, and obviously continue on with the weekend as a whole. Oh, we have got a car going wide over at turn 2. That's tough off circuit for Alpine.
It's a weird place to get out of the way.
Weird indeed, but you see, he's already got a time. It's not too concerned. It's a 1:21.5 for Huff. Imri's fast. It's 1:21.1. So sort of business as usual for the perennial qualifying leader this season. Obviously, he's been fantastic in qualifying over the course of the campaign, and I expect to see no reason why that will stop. As Quigley goes faster, obviously Quigley is moving on to keep an eye out for in this Grand Prix. He won. He managed to win last week's race, quote unquote. Obviously, as a reserve doesn't get full points. Those points went to Dan, who came across the line third from what I've got, but Imri crossed the line first, had a penalty, quickly won the race, but is a reserve, so Dan then got the full 25 points, and the gap is closed, but Ben, 113 points in the Drivers' Championship going into this race. There's still a chance that Grimm will most likely clinch it. If he can maintain that lead of over 100 points, and he will be champion for Season 20, which obviously, if you doing much like West Brom did in recent weeks, and becoming the first driver to win the RDL Championship twice in one season. Obviously, the extension of the season happening a few weeks ago. So, yeah, somewhat similar to what West Brom did, but on the other end of the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously, this is going to be one of our is a. We get this 5, 10, 11-time world champion.
Yeah, 11 if he can finish the job.
Sound. Well, he's a 10-time world champion in the RDL. But that being said, he's not feeling the pressure, surely, is he?
I doubt it. I mean, he's got a rather big lead at the minute. That's the other thing. Let's not forget that. I mean, I dare say that last week's race was a bit of a fluke, off form for Grimmie. Obviously, went down as a 15th place finisher, retiree in last week's Grand Prix after that horror lap under the VSC. Obviously, he got the puncture. I think we found out it was from running over from some debris, and then he put himself onto a set of soft tires. Those ran out. He slipped down the order and then retired the car in the pit lane. So a tough evening for Grumio in Vegas last week. Obviously, Dan gained that full margin he could back in the championship. But Grumio looks to try and hit back. And if he can just sort of maintain his lead now, then he will be champion for Season 20 with 4 rounds to go. Obviously, we've got Abu Dhabi and then the 3 reverse circuits still to come. We've got Silverstone and then Zandvoort and then obviously the finale in Austria, which we're looking forward to. So Grimmio towards the line now. He's going to complete his next lap, Ben. So he can come to the line. It's 120.9. Oh, that's awfully fast.
It is indeed. That being said, though, there is still time in that lap because he had a few wobbles here and there. He had a few bites of the cherry at the steering. But that's him done for Q2 anyway.
Yep, he's retired from the session, saving the car and perhaps a set of tyres for Q3. Webbsy here in the McLaren. A bit of confusion upon the start of the lobby earlier on tonight. So Webbsy is in the McLaren. The game has assigned him that car. And Alvar is here. Alvar was the one driver who joined us midway through Q1, but is in the He's in Webbsy's Aston Martin, as that was the only car left over. So we'll swap those two round in terms of constructors' points. I mean, Aston Martin are the ones sort of in the driving seat in the constructors, let's not forget. 86 points for that team scored over the course of the season to the 72 of... Oh, sorry, is that 72? I'll double check that on out for Alpine.
I want to see right there. Yes, 72.
Excellent. So there we go. So yeah, so the chase continues, but Aston Martin very much in the driving seat with 5 rounds to go, including tonight. Lucky Lambert starts his lap there, 13th place in the minute for Ferrari, one of the 4 cars yet to put a lap in. And he goes into turn 1, looking to keep things nice and smooth. Obviously, Lucky P14 last week, but Courtney Goblin, his teammate, came away with a point in last week's race in Vegas. Came through at the very end. Was running P14 with a few laps to go for that late safety car. Shook things up and allowed him to come through and nab a point for the Scuderia. But I mean, on a day where McLaren also failed, when McLaren failed to score, so 1 point gained for Ferrari. That's 16 points. And so note that is 20 points for their championship challenge, and it's 32 points for McLaren. So it's still in the favour of the Papaya Warriors, as it has been for the majority of the second half of the season. But Ferrari still have time to bounce back. And if anything, if last week's result was anything to go by, I mean, Lucky came home, he has SP14, and had a difficult evening as well. But I still say that there's fights in Ferrari yet, Ben.
Yes, I think Lucky obviously had a bit of internet issues, I believe, during the last safety car at Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. Is that his AI ended up pitting, and that cost him absolutely, because I think I was running 4th or 5th, I want to say, at that point. And then Conor Goblin, well-deserved point.
Lucky into P11 there, 122.044 on the board. Only 3 thousandths of HB Cook in P10, but from those guys is about another sort of a tenth and a half or so back to up to TJ in 9th place. Pope, they're running in 8th here for Williams, and he's still looking for his first victory of the season after coming up short last week in Vegas. A 3rd place finish for him. Che was credited with 2nd. Che, his teammate. Sorry, apologies. I'm looking at Che when I'm talking about Pope. Right, not on. That's a rarity for me. I haven't done that in quite a while. Imri is running in P4 at the moment. Dan's actually in front of him for the time being. But Dan obviously needs to be outscoring Grumio by... If he wins the race and Grumio finishes outside of the top 5, then that will mean that Grumio is... The title will roll on. But if Grumio can get himself a top 5 finish and score those 10 points minimum, then he should be champion.
Yeah, it should, yeah. We'll see. Obviously, if Grumio, if that were last week indeed a fluke, was it just almost a check back to what reality can hit you at? But then, is it Grumio? Can he be back to his normal self? Can he keep it on the island? Can he avoid all the mistakes that? Let's face it, Zach, he has had a few scary moments, so am I, over the course of this season. Notoriously in the pit lane and with track limits.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a slightly more difficult place to get the track limit penalties around here. But I mean, saying that, I mean, the 2 danger points there. You probably look at the second sector, the sort of complex between turns 7, 8, and 9, as you see Curtis going through now in the Red Bull. Another place is sort of being in that think about the last sector as a whole. You're probably looking at track limits a fair bit there. I mean, in terms of this very fast right hand coming up here. The run through turns, everywhere from turn 12 to turn 15. You get through there, you're nice and safe. But I'd say for the most part, the first half of the lap, you're pretty okay.
I think obviously it becomes naturally worse to. I personally don't like it, tell me. It's like driving till tires explode, but at the same time, your rear tires overheat a lot. So in the race, we may see penalties given out turn 4. That's a pretty bad one as well. Turn 4, turn 5. Obviously, hairpin not that bad to be fair. Then you've also got turn 7, the one just in the middle of the second sector. And then occasionally I'll probably say I want to say it's turn 9, turn 10. That fast left-hander. That really wraps the car on the curb, and it occasionally can catch a few drivers out. That's how I was caught out anyway. A few seasons back, I think. Pad users tend to. No disrespect to pad users, but
be very careful what you say next to you.
Yes, I'm trying to be careful as I can, but at the same time, I think it's harder control on the pad than it is on the wheel.
Okay, yeah.
Because with pad, obviously, you're on the analog stick, and with the wheel, obviously, you've got a wheel right flat bang in front of you, which you can turn out whichever rotation you want.
And that is your technical analysis from university expert Ben.
That is me done for the evening. I will I'll leave the technical analysis up to Zach now.
So it went the long-winded way around. But I think we got the gist of it there. In that time, Ben, but Imri went fastest. One went 20.770. So Imri's back on it now as he looks to add another pole position to his repertoire for this season. I'll say honestly, I mean, in terms of qualifying in the race, there's been 2 dominators. Imri in qualifying has obviously set the most with double digits, and Grumio's obviously taken double digits in race win. So if just one driver ended up with those two stats themselves, they'd be a machine. But that's the situation we're in right now. And as it stands at the minute, in terms of situations, currently you're gonna need like a 1 minute 21 minimum to get any chance going into Q3. The first car out still HP Cook with 122.041. Lucky Lambert 3000s behind him. It's another 10th back to Curtis and 10th Cannon P14. And DJ yet to put a lap in this. JB retires from 8th place. It's a dicey place to retire from, Ben, as we've seen before. Because we have seen drivers previously come through and knock drivers who have been retired early out of the session. I mean, I say early. There's not actually long to go. I think we are nearing the last couple of minutes. I think we're on sort of final laps here. There's a big yellow flag in my way, which says otherwise. But once that clears up, yep, last minute. There we go.
1 minute.
So a minute to go in this session, and Pope currently the last car going through. So we've seen an improvement further up. 10th Cannon into the 6th. Is the 6th position. She should be safe in Q3. And from there, quickly starts his last lap. Go on, Ben.
Yeah, quickly starts his last lap. You're looking, well, as for JB, fortune favours are old, I say, but that is very tight. That is literally on the cusp, I'd say.
Emery retires. Yeah, I mean, I think you are quite close there, but there's actually only 3 tenths in it. Never mind. And JB gets knocked down to P10 there. There goes Curtis across the line. P6 for him, almost a full second's worth of improvement. So big gains from the Red Bull driver. And we're waiting here just to see who'll be the last cars through. Checker flag is waiting to go up. There's 10 seconds to go. Webbsy crosses the line to begin his last lap of the session. Next car through will be Lucky Lambert. He's 2 tenths up as it stands. Not enough for the minute. He needs a bit more than that. He needs about half a second or so to get himself into the last part of qualifying. Be big to get a Ferrari in to that last stage. As it comes across the line, it's P12 for Lucky. He does improve, but not enough to get him any further. So Q3 is not in his cards. 10th towards the line, invalid lap. So P7 for her at best. We'll see if there's any gains or improvements in the cars behind. Pope's in the drop zone now. He's 4 tenths up though, so I should think he's going through without too many concerns. As he should put himself up at sort of the top 5, I should think. Get into 3rd place. That'll do it. It's even nice for Pope. So across the line for him. TJ in the drop zone and coming towards the line. It's going to be P12 for him. JB's out to qualifying. Obviously Pope going up above him. And DJ, the last car, coming through to complete the effort. Hasty Cook's gone out last second. Couldn't get a lap in time. He is out of qualifying. And DJ slides going through turn 15, and yep, recovers it. I think the damage done to that Aston Martin, but that'll be a tough break for him. Sorry, Ben, take it.
I can't tell, cause, I can't tell whether damage is done to that because, as always with the game, oh yeah, big damage on the front wing side. As always with the game, you get locked in the TV pod whenever somebody has a little bit of attack with the wall. Notice that.
Something that I hope we see an improvement on for F1 27. Webbsy goes into 9th place. Curtis is currently in P8. It's the last car to come to the line pitting this time. So we lose our bottom 5. JB goes out, first car eliminated, but still a good qualifying spot for him nonetheless. TJ in P12, Lucky P13, HP Cook P14, and DJ in P15. So there's your top 10 in front of you. Imri fastest, followed by Quigley in 2nd place. Grumio 3rd, Pope in P4, Huff, Che, Dan, Curtis, Webbsy, and 10th. Your top 10. That's a very strong top 10, Ben, if I do say so myself. Very, very tight. And one of the RBs are through. Got Aston Martin disguised as a McLaren through. They've got one of the Red Bulls, one of the Mercs, both Williams cars, one of the Alpines. A number of different manufacturers in here, and it should be a very interesting Q3 as always. But of course, it'll be up to these. I say up to these 3 in front. Imri, Quigley, and Grumio will be the ones who have put themselves up in a good spot, and it should be a very exciting Q3.
Yeah, it should be. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anytime will tell.
So a round of again of your bottom 5 going out. JB eliminated by about 3 or just under 3 tenths or so. So only another 13 thousandths to, sorry, only 11 thousandths to TJ. 9 tenths off of top time is Lucky Lambert, and HP Cook is 0.923 off. So really not a lot separating. Less than a tenth separating P11 to P14. And DJ did get a lap in the end, but 10 seconds off the top time and out of qualifying here. So Imri tops Q2. We'll see if he can take pole position as Q3 is set to get underway in a matter of moments. So Q3 about to get underway then. As I said, Ben, a very strong looking top 10 here. And a number of different constructors all in with a chance to take pole. Imri, Romeo, and Quigley, of course, the favourites. Dan needs a big result to get himself forward in the championship fight. And we'll wait to see who the first cut out on circuit is. I should expect one of the kick sours, but I see an Alpine I see an Alpine mechanic getting to work here and bringing Huff's car off the jacks. Imri's beaten to it though. Imri is going first out onto the circuit, and you see 3 more cars joining him. One of the Williams cars, that's the Alpine of Huff and the Merc of Dan. So Q3 about to get underway, and it should be a very exciting qualifying session indeed on a circuit that's largely taken sort of, I say flat out for the most part, but it's got its moments, has Losail.
Yes. I don't want to finish for myself, but I seem to be having moments at every track in the RDL. But when I race it.
But you know what? On the bright side, it gives you plenty of experience as to what to avoid on these circuits, yeah?
Yes, although I don't seem to learn to avoid it, it just happens again and again.
Yeah, I mean, that's just in this league. You've always told stories about sort of driving fast when you're actually driving, as opposed to being up here with me.
Well, driving fast when my tyres had exploded.
That also did happen, but yes. I mean, this sort of circuit where the tyres may well explode. I mean, LaSalle's been no stranger to a puncture here or there over the last couple of seasons, so one to keep an eye out for here as we press on, nearing our first laps.
First laps matter around this track as well, Zach. So any invalidations on your first lap, you're already massively disadvantaged due to tyre wear and that, etc.
So we'll see here in terms of if anyone falls foul of that on these first runs. Last corner here for Imri as he gets himself underway for that first flying lap. Should be hopefully a joy to watch. Imri's been fantastic in qualifying all season, as we keep on alluding to. Down towards turn 1, long main straight here, the lone DRS zone on the circuit. So obviously only a few races left with any sort of DRS bend. So that's to enjoy while we still have it. Obviously, Imri's been up there, as I say, 12 poles to Grumio's 8, and Che's taking the other one. So it's been quite dominant so far in qualifying this season, as we know.
Yeah, it has, yeah, but obviously it's a different story when you count the reserves in there, though. And I can't get words out. Always seems to happen every single week without fail. But yes, including the reserves, I think Quigley's had 1 or 2. I want to say he had 1 at Monza earlier on in the season.
Yes, but in terms of obviously full-time drivers, it gets credited with the highest starting full-time driver. But yeah, obviously Quigley has nabbed 1 or 2 for himself, so definitely will be a force to reckon with in terms of next season should he get brought into a full-time role. Obviously, we've been speculating about this since he made his debut at Zandvoort, and obviously put Grumio sort of under his heel for that first run, to put it lightly, in the Netherlands in quite a while ago now, about a month and a half ago, a month or 2. But yeah, right now, obviously, in terms of full-time drivers, Grumio and Imri are the ones to beat over the course of 1 lap. And Imri towards the line, it's a 1 minute 20.848. Still good for pace, but obviously, you and I have both seen Grumio turn up a notch big time here in Q3. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see Grumio come through and score like a 120.5 at some point. Pope in second fastest, 121.3, so big gap there. And Dan bridging the gap a little bit, 121.1. Obviously, he needs... Dan actually came in the chat and corrected me. He needs 4th place. Grumio needs 4th place or hard to secure the title.
Flying. He's flying at the minute.
Keep it. See what comes out with Ben. Perhaps he comes out the last corner towards the line. Full throttle as he comes up, and he's broken the DRS sign, but it doesn't matter. Yep, I was right. 120.5 for Grumio, and he's broken that DRS sign for good measure.
No, I know there's a clip going around. I think it's NASCAR Brazil or something like that, where a driver does actually take the DRS ball for them the entire lap, but Guru just decided that DRS zone. Okay then.
Quickly goes faster still.
I'll stop speaking.
There we go then. So, your 3 contenders making themselves known very early here in the first round of pole position. And it's Quickly who is fastest, followed by Grumio and then Imri. And Imri exactly 4/10 off of the Haas reserve. I know that Imri played a hand in bringing Quickly over to the league, but I wonder perhaps if he'll be kicking himself for that decision at this point, because he may turn out to be as much a thorn in Imri's side as it will be perhaps in Grumio's later on in the race.
No, I don't think he will.
All right, okay. Well,
I think Imri will be loving this.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the word is in terms of teammates next season. I know there hasn't been. The sign-ups haven't quite been opened yet, so we continue on our wait for news about the F1 2026 DLC. And honestly, I've got a good feeling about tomorrow, although I've said that to myself every week, and we haven't really had much about it since.
Yes.
One
feel
thing,
like this is a weekly occurrence, does that?
yeah,
Every
but
time, it could be Tuesday, it could be Thursday. It just never happens, does it? So I think the week that we don't come to expect it is the week that it's gonna happen.
yeah, but the thing is, that's what I can't not say anything about it. That's just the state of play right now. I need to know. I'm so used to going through April and knowing that at certain points in my evening I'll be able to sit there and watch like the deep dives, that sort of thing.
It will be nice, wouldn't it? Just see some sort of information.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, off topic, but it was brought to our attention in the server earlier on that apparently there was some sort of there's been a logo change for the Ego engine that Cody's used for this game, and we're looking hopefully. I think we should expect some big improvements. If we're not on a different engine, we want to be on a much stronger one. Now that we're off next gen completely, we've had a good few years to work things out. So there's big expectations for F127, as we know. Obviously, the DLC. Not going to expect too much in terms of content.
Yeah, it's mainly just the 2026 cars that are going to be uploaded. Maybe a few minor tweaks here and there as well on top of that.
Well, I mean, if we've got the cars, we've got ourselves a season here. Obviously, Season 21 will continue on to be broadcast on the Zach RC channel, same time, same place, 7 p.m. on Monday nights, provided that the DLC comes out anytime soon. Obviously, we had to extend the season, and I should think we shouldn't be repeating races in the course of this campaign. But yeah, I mean, we're already hitting Ben. Fun fact: this can be the longest season in RDL history, beating season 17 by just one race. We ran 25. As you know, you were there for that. You placed well in that reverse grid finale, if memory serves well.
Yeah, yes. Can we go back?
We'll talk
back
about
in the
it.
Time. Nah, it's all good. It's all good fun having your face out, but it's what I like to compete for the race win.
So we'll keep an eye instead on Che, who we likely trying to compete for pole if he can here as he comes through. A bit of a slide through turn. Oh, a bit of wobble there through turn 9 for turn 10. Sorry for Che as he makes his way towards through turn 12. Turn 11 actually being that little sort of. Obviously, the exit at turn 10, the track sort of curves left. That is turn 11 there. It doesn't seem like much of a corner, but it's sort of a gradual left.
How is that 2 corners?
Okay, well, I mean, this will get on your nerves. The run down the main straight at Imola, when you hit the start line, and there's a slight little right curve we go towards Tamburello, the Tamburello chicane. That's turn 1.
How is it?
According to the track maps, that's what we're looking at.
Turn 1 is the first braking zone in the corner. That's the way.
So you'd think, but according to the track maps on the F1 website, that's the situation we're dealing with there. As Webster comes to the line, 1:21.3, slowest time so far. We've still got 3 cars yet to put laps in. Che came back to the pit lane after that wobble, and 10th and half. We're now for first runs, and we haven't seen him back out since. So we've only got 3.5 minutes to go, so I should think we're looking at last runs getting underway sooner rather than later. I have to wait and see here as to if anyone comes to the circuit. It's a very confusing start for us. I mean, we had a good lost like first 2 or 3 minutes of Q1, and no one came out on track. So definitely the track is still busier now than it was at the start of Q1. So make some changes there.
Literally got 1 car out on track.
Yeah, I mean we're getting towards the end of it now. Obviously, shorter lap here in Qatar. Only a minute 20 to a minute 21. So in terms of lap times, Imri is coming out onto the circuit now, so he's getting himself a bit of time between. Gonna try and dodge the traffic if he can. Obviously, avoiding traffic is crucial in a qualifying run, as we know. Obviously, it pays to be out of any sort of trains during the Grand Prix to an extent, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed it does as well. But then there's also disadvantages of being left behind the RS train, for example. So I think there's pros and cons to it. But if you were to ask any of these 22 hours going to here, probably about half of them would say I prefer to be in that DRS train, not being able to make it.
Well, it's quite akin to a NASCAR super speedway in the sense that likely we'll see a lot of trains in this race as these guys all sort of jockey for position within the pack, and from there we should see all systems go on the final lap. But it will come down largely to obviously keeping pace to keep with the cars in front of you, and ERS management will be, as it was in last week in Vegas, Ben, it'll be absolutely crucial to maintain your battery levels over the course of the race, especially having it charged up towards the end. A bit of a wobble there from Imbri through turn 10.
Yes, exactly. I've just seen that as well. This is a bit of a weird track in terms of obviously race management. There's no real places to gain it. Final corner, first corner, but then as soon as you reach your final sector, really, you're going to reduce hours in. So We'll see how the drivers manage that through sector 1.
Speaking of final sector, here comes Imri through the last corner to begin at the first of the last lap runs. Only Websy will not be getting a lap in, I don't think. Websy, I think, he's in the pit lane. He's good there. P7 for him. It could be as low as P10 once he caps things off here because he's not on the racetrack. Obviously, Websy racing under McLaren colours, but obviously a driver for Aston Martin, so his points will go towards the Green Machines in the Constructors' Championship. And the other Green Machine is out on circuit here as Imri goes. Oh, Imri's not deleted. And that'll be P3 highest for him.
This is on the course. If Imri can get a move on, he can get another lap in.
Have to wait and see here, but I think he might have to charge his batch up as well, so it's going to be quite close for him here. We'll see if he goes again.
Good.
I should think he will. You and I both know him.
Has he got the fuel?
Go for. Should be okay, I think.
Well, I think he'll be running minimum fuel to the point where he's going to be struggling around final lap, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see if that red light comes on at any point on the MFD for the last part of the session. But as quickly crosses the lines, begin his last lap. He's got 10th Cannon in behind. 10th had a quite quiet session, but obviously hasn't put a bad lap in just yet. And Curtis in P6 right now. Obviously, Curtis and 10th locked in that chase in the Drivers' Championship for 6th place. 5 points to the good for TJ, and Curtis just 2 points back from that. So 7 points covering P6 to P8 in the standing. So it's big for these guys. Though those three in particular, TJ didn't make it to Q3 in the end, but yeah, I mean it's gonna be important for 10th and Curtis to get good laps in here. As Imri, he's got 10 seconds to make it to the line. I think he might actually miss out here.
Gonna be tight. Yeah, it looks like he may. It's gonna be Lewis Hamilton 2020-esque, isn't it?
It's gonna be tight to the line. He's made it.
He's made it. He has actually done a Lewis Hamilton.
So he's gonna do a lap. He's gonna do a lap. We'll see how he gets on then. Down towards turn 1, but the last few laps will be starting to come through here. Quickly improving by a 10th. He's looking dangerously competitive as Grumio is in the first sector still. We'll see what his time looks like when he comes through to complete that first split. He's he's down by 7,000 and a slide there going through turn 6 won't help his case either. Quickly looks set for pole unless Imri can stop him on his last lap, unless anyone behind can also play a factor. Dan's 10th and a half up in sector 1. He's 3.5 tenths up in sector 2, so finding some time quickly towards the line. It's 1 minute 20.3 for Quickly. Finds 3/4 of a tenth. As 10th Cannon goes P5. Good lap for her. Curtis into P4. Big improvements being made here. As Pope comes to the last corner. He's up by almost half a second, leaving sector 2. Towards the line for Pope. It will be a third place for him. 1 minute 20.720. Next one is Dan towards the line. Dan into 4th place. Che to the flag. Che into 3rd place himself. So Williams on the 2nd row here. Half towards the line.
2.5 tenths.
Half to P5. And Imri Larson's come through. And Imri's actually up by... he was up by almost under 1/4 of a second. I mean, I doubt he'll be able to get anything left here.
He's down in 7th.
Oh,
he's out. He's out of fuel.
And he slides the car in through turn 16, and he may have found some time, but this will really... Getting that first lap on his run wrong is going to cost Imri massively here. P7 for the driver who's taken more poles than anyone this season. Quickly on pole. It's a Haas front row lockout. And Grumio in the top 4 with Dan outside of the top. Dan not in a winning position from here. He's got a lot of work to do. His closest challengers in the championship. Down the order. Quickly on pole. And Grumio will be elated seeing those two, perhaps his toughest competitors in the last few weeks in terms of full-time drivers, down the order.
Indeed he will.
So Quickly takes pole then by 12 thousandths to Grumio. Fantastic laps on both Haas cars. Che in 3rd place. Pope in P4. Williams lock out the 2nd row. Half in P5. Another fantastic qualifying from the Alpine Reserve. Then it's Dan in P6. Imri 7th. Curtis 8th. 10th Cannon 9th. And Websy in P10. No slouches in that top 10. But that'll do us for qualifying then. And the Grand Prix will be underway in a few minutes. Back on the way here and getting set for the start of round 22 of season 20 in your Races Driving League. It's the Qatar Grand Prix. And if qualifying seconds to go by, we should be in for a spectacular race. I'm your host, Zach RC. If you just joined us, alongside me is former RDL driver and podium finisher Ben. Let's not forget, he's got his own bit of experience in this league that I can't get myself. There's your circuit, the Losail International Circuit, primarily used for a long time, mainly for MotoGP being their biggest event of the year, the Qatar Grand Prix there. And obviously now joining us on the Formula 1 calendar for the first time back in 2021 and joined the calendar permanently in 2023. 16 corners around the track. It should be a fantastic race. Just the one DRS zone in play for us tonight. Grumio is your defending winner, and Ben, we know that Grumio needs the top 4 at minimum to secure the championship regardless of where Dan finishes.
Yep, it's something that Grumio Cannon will probably do tonight if he avoids all the errors.
Obviously, a nightmare race for Grumio last time out in Vegas. The that portion of the Grand Prix over the full race distance where Grumio sort of suffered and retired the car in the pit lane, a rarity from the 10-time champion. And saying that, it's his second pointless finish in the last 5 races. But the other 3 results have been first, fourth, and first. So clearly he's not doing too bad. Dan's been on the podium in the last 5 races, so continue that streak on, hopefully. Imri finished in P9 in the end in last week's race in Vegas once the penalty at the end of his Grand Prix. And another one was applied for him in the race itself. So P9 for him, tough day for him overall. Che was second last week, Pope was third. The Williams cars still fighting on, 7 points separating Che and Imri in the Drivers' Championship, the race for third place, and Pope for the 7 back from his teammate. And the Constructors is still in favour of Haas by a long way. They're not in position to try and clinch just yet, as far as I know. If I double check the numbers that need to be up by, which I don't think they can make, I can only gain 25 points from here. So I have to still keep that eye over the course of the evening. But in terms of your formation lap, get underway and our starting grid for this race. It's Quigley on pole, followed by Grumio in second place. Third goes to Che, your top 3 starting on mediums, and hard tyres. P4 Pope. So Williams look out the second row, running 2 different liveries, the Golf livery and the other one. I forgot when they ran that one. Never mind. Huff in P5 for Alpine again. Second or 2 reserves run fantastically high in qualifying. Dan in P6 needs to be beating Grumio at minimum today. If Grumio finishes outside the top 4 and Dan wins the race, it carries on to Abu Dhabi next time out. Imri starts in P7, botched things on his last effort in Q3 and ran out of fuel in his second lap. Curtis in P8 for Red Bull continues that chase in terms of the Constructors' Championship, fighting to try and catch up to Sauber and Mercedes, and fighting, of course, with 10th Cannon and TJ for P6 in the Drivers' Championship. 10th Cannon lines up P9 in the best position to try and nab that spot off of TJ. 5 points separating those 2 drivers going into today. Webbsy P10, normally Aston Martin driver this week, racing under the McLaren car because of a glitch prior to the start of the session. JB P11 knocked out in qualifying narrowly by his teammate, but still had a good chance to try and nab some points after a 13th place finish last week. TJ in P12 again, still holding on to P6 narrowly. Points scored in his last 4 of his last 5 races, including 6th place last time out in Vegas. Lucky Lambert P13, best hope for Ferrari trying to have some points after Courtney Goblin scored 1 in Vegas last week. Casey Cook P14, P5 from last time out, 2 P5s in his last 2 races, looking to try and carry that on, but a long way down the grid this time. DJ P15 has had 2 solid races at 8th and 4th last time out. His last 2 races, looking to try and carry that on, but again, tough task for him from P15. Eaton in P16 for Alpine is still leading his teammate in the Drivers' Championship by 20 points. Looking to try and maintain that gap. It's Alpine, Chase, Aston Martin. Alvar P17, to race from McLaren, and a swap from Webbsy in that case, hopefully just for this Grand Prix. It's Obsessed in P18, 1 point scored from all season, looking to try and improve that if he can. Courtney P19 scored a point last week, can he make it another one this week? And Ericsson lines up dead last, one of the drivers he hasn't scored since that first race in Australia. And Ben, we should be in for an exciting race. But look at Quigley here, waiting to tackle Grumio on the run towards the first corner. Look at that.
He's set up his car beautifully, so we all know what Quigley's going to do in the run to turn 1.
And I wouldn't say it's the only one, but we'll keep an eye as to what happens on this race start. It's going to require a good getaway as Ericsson takes the last spot on the grid. We're seconds away now from the lights to get this one underway. 29 laps here around Qatar for the 22nd race of the season. Here they come. The lights are on. Quigley and Grumio on the front row. Grumio is trying to secure his title tonight. It's lights up onto the floor, and we are racing here in the desert. Good start from both Haas cars, and they're on towards that first corner. Quigley, smooth as you like, covers off Grumio into turn 1. Grumio tries the outside into the right hander. They go around the outside. The champion moves into the lead through turn 1. Quigley on his inside, but falls away on corner exit. Huff into 3rd place. Pope and P4, yellow flag in the back. As an Alpine gone. That's not Ethan. That's the Mercedes guy. That's the test around.
Well.
Obsessed recovers himself there, but a number of cars off the pace here. Cottony, Ericsson, Alvar, and Ethan all shook a bit by that. As Pope now takes second place from quickly. Number of cars going wide at the back, damage for the back. One of the Red Bulls going off the circuit. As Curtis down to P10 here, and almost in the gravel. So it's a very chaotic start in Qatar. But Grumio leads from Pope and it quickly. And for the champion, it is business as usual.
It is indeed, yes. There's a number of drivers are having moments left, right, and centre at every single corner. So I wonder if the tyres just aren't heating up as well. The track's maybe a bit green. Looks like quickly had a bit of a disconnection error, and that's why he's down to third.
Well, yeah, he had a fairly good start, but you know what? I had a feeling someone wasn't right when he sort of turned to go straight off the line as opposed to trying to cover Grumio off immediately. But yeah, he had a fantastic start in the first phase to get away, but then going towards turn 1, Grumio got the run around the outside, and human against AI, there's no real competition really. The human's going to win most times, especially if it's this human, as Grumio comes through turn 16 to complete the first lap of this race. Pope has kept with him, but it's 2 seconds back to quickly, so that's really holding everyone else up. Huff in 4th place, Imri in P5, so tough start for Imri. He's comes to the pit lane. Has he got damage?
Damage.
I think he does. Maybe one of the cars got caught up then. Number of cars in. The pit lane's going to get very, very busy here as we begin lap 2 of this race. You see Dan's coming behind him. That'll be big damage for Dan's title hopes as he quickly retires. He's out of the Grand Prix. What's happened here? I wonder if the game is automatically retired.
Has the game just forced him to retire?
Well, very confusing there. But Imri, Che, Dan Curtis all in for tyres and damage repairs. And quickly down the order very quickly then, so not entirely sure what that was about. But he is out, and whether he has the face to try and challenge today, not too sure. But that's left Grumio in a very, very comfortable position with 3 of his biggest challengers. Make that almost 4 down the order, as obviously Curtis is capable of running up front on his day 2. He's left him just to deal with Pope here. Yellow flag again, that's Imri around.
Is that Imri?
What's going on in the start here? Imri,
what is going off?
He keeps the car rolling again, but I'm guessing it must just be cold tyres. I had to assume. He may have just sort of overcooked things, leaving turn 1. But I imagine it's a frustrating start for him. But there you go then. P16 to P19 of 4-wheel drivers who are used to running in the top 10 at minimum, if not sort of top 5, top 6. But I'll tell you what, I see Huff carrying on here in 3rd place. I think he's got end plate damage on the left side as he goes. Yes, he does. So Huff carrying on then for the time being. Not sure if he plans to pit this lap. He's not going to stay out. He's going to stay out. Grumio
That's going to hit him big time.
Pope gets fastest lap, so he's texting Grumio with DRS now as they run towards turn 1. The train for the back being led by TJ. Now, Lucky Lambert into P5. Make that P4 for the Ferrari. He's shot up the order here in the early going. That's 9 places gained for the Ferrari, man. This early on in the Grand Prix. What a start from 7 places for DJ, too. A number of cars who've had struggled in qualifying, now making big gains in the Grand Prix. 10th in P7. He's up 2 spots. He's up 4.
Oh.
Fantastic
stuff. Caught up in there as well.
Say again, sorry?
Che was caught up in that as well. I never even realised.
Yeah, Che down there in P18, so struggling evidently in the Williams there early on, and Dan down in P16, knowing that obviously his rivals just got to finish in 4th place, and I think that it's just Ethan the quickly disconnected, so that's the end of his race there. I think he's just sort of retired himself to save anyone else any bother in that case. Safest thing to do is to retire the car, but you thought he'd bring it back to the pit lane before retiring the car. So a weird move there from quickly to retire the car there, but I suppose immediate is better than going the entirety of the lap. But we're on lap 3 now, and Pope is giving chase to Grumio. He is closing the gap a fair bit here. Huff in 3rd place, and quite spectacularly, Lucky Lambert in 4th place, the Season 10 champion, title winner 10 seasons ago, and running him in the top 5 once again as his teammate Cottony gets the first penalty of the evening.
Pope's going for the lead here.
And he'll take it too, up towards that first corner. Nice and easy from your Season 11 champion. So 3 champions in the top 4 of the order. So things going fantastically for those guys. You see 10th Cannon challenging Websy as well towards turn 1. Obviously, this train's single file for the most part, except for these occasional fights up and down the field. As 10th Cannon goes into turn 2 with the position. And over Websy, moving clear that McLaren. And Websy, you'll see his actual teammate cut behind him now. DJ, who I'm assuming he wasn't expecting to see so early on this race. But here we are then. That is your situation. And DJ is once again on the move as he looks to try and go for a 3rd straight point-scoring finish. It'll be a big gain for Aston Martin in this case.
Yes. Just wondering, is Grumio taking it easy? Is it got a bit of damage that we don't know about? Because this is unlike Grumio. Grumio normally pulls away as quickly as possible. He likes to get out of that 1 second window before the DRS opens, and he just hasn't managed to do it.
Well, Qatar is a very different circuit to a lot of tracks we visit in the sense of only the one DRS zone, Ben. So there's not really a place to attack. But I think you might have a point there. Grumio doesn't seem as fast.
Yeah, there's also that, but then obviously Pope has just walked by him on the DRS straight.
And I'm wondering perhaps if you could be probably could be right, Ben. I'm wondering perhaps if there's any sort of floor damage to be concerned about. But I can't think as the way he may have picked it up. So the start seemed all clean for him, and I didn't see anything happen to him on the off the get-go on that first lap. On to lap 5 now. He closes back in a bit more with DRS, but I wonder if he's perhaps. It could be he's just playing it safe. We'll see how he handles the rest of the lap. But for now, though, Pope was really pulling away. He was doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
TJ takes lucky for P4.
That didn't seem like ultimate DRS pace then. I'm wondering if he has picked up some undertrade damage of some sort.
Well, he seems like he's
He's
doing okay for the
lifting
time
off as well.
being. And keeping himself in DRS range. Ericsson gets hit with that penalty. Tough break from early on. As I say, he's one of the two drivers who hasn't scored between now and Australia. And the other one to have done that is Obsessed Gamer, who runs in P14 at the moment. He's shown many races this season, valiant efforts for him over the course of the campaign. I'd like to see him score a point before the season is through, or score another point before the season's through, because it feels like it's been too long since I've seen Obsessed in the top 10, and I want to see it again. So Obsessed, hopefully, come on, mate, do us a favour, and we'll see. Hopefully, get him up there in the order later on. Dan is about 17.5 seconds back from Cottony in P15, who would normally be in this case without the instance in the first lap, one of the last running cars, but in this case. He's got 4 drivers behind him. I think should likely catch him sooner rather than later. But they've made their first stops. Imri and Che, I'm guessing, are trying to go as long as they can on the hard tyres, trying to save themselves a second stop later on this Grand Prix. I mean, they'll have to make one, Ben, I should think. But, yeah, I wonder if we'll see puncture territory at any point in this Grand Prix. Because we've seen it before in years past. I'll put it that way.
Yes, indeed we have here. Qatar's had a couple as well. Don't think it was last season, but the season before, and I have a feeling like Rubio lost it at the corner up to now where he's down. He dropped it very early on, and now his race done. So I don't know what happened there.
We'll see if he gets the same sort of fate as what you just described there, Ben. But for now, he's content to chase down Pope, so he's clearly doing okay pace-wise. There's no real concern there. Huff's doing just fine as well. He's 2.6 behind these guys. I think we'd hope that they start fighting a bit more to try and help him close the gap in a bit more. I mean, he's not got a ton of battery there, so he's not helping his own case. But TJ and P4 still chasing. We've still got a train there of Lucky, 10th, Websy, DJ. JB's joined the fight, and HB joined them too, as Ethan chases that last point. I say last point's playing place. Huff's still in the top 10, so he's currently holding on to the last point as Ethan. And Alvar in P12. We're just missing Ethan's teammate PJ Khaled in tonight's race in terms of... Well, actually, sorry, no. We're missing PJ, and we're also missing AT as well. So there's your 2 drivers we're missing tonight.
Yes. Yeah. But as it stands for the moment, Ethan, it's obviously very early on. A lot of things can change. And Ethan is on the harder compound tyres as he runs wide through turn 14, I want to say.
You are correct, sir. Turn 14, bingo.
I just guessed that.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got the chat map. I've got the chat map next to me, so I've got an advantage there. But into turn 1, we're on lap 7 now of the Grand Prix, and Grumio keeping up. Cottony Goblin with a penalty. That's his second in the evening. That's 6 seconds now to his name. Lucky gets back around TJ into turn 1. This train's going to be largely the one to keep an eye out for, I should think, in terms of moves. I'll be hoping that perhaps... I mean, these guys are fighting for a podium as full-time drivers because Huff's in 3rd place there, so he'll obviously get removed from the order coming into the Grand Prix. So it's full 15 points for Ferrari, which could do those guys a world of good, given that there's currently no McLarens in the top 10. Alvar competing as a McLaren driver, just in Aston Martin tonight, thanks to the aforementioned problems in Q1. And Ericsson in P13, so it's doing good for Ferrari right now. Obviously, McLaren on 32 points. Ferrari are on 20. So this position, a 3rd place finish for Lucky Lambert in terms of points. If he scored 15, then he'll jump Ferrari in front of the McLarens. That's how big this is, Ben. So Lucky's got a world on his shoulders here, and he's got the entirety of Italy cheering him on, I should think. And we'll see how this story develops, but it could be a very exciting one come the end of the evening.
Yes, hopefully, fingers crossed. But Lucky Lambert is probably deserved a good point finish. I think he's been up there for 2 or 3 races now. He's just not being able to get it.
His last point score was a 1 point score in Mexico, I think it was 3 weeks ago. And then 5 weeks back, you're looking back to Singapore, where he scored a 9th place finish. And obviously, nabbed points in Monza as well. So he's been on a good run. He scored in 3 of his last 6 races, I want to say. So big gains for Lucky in the last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pope looks to be dropping Grumio now. We're on lap 8, and Grumio's 1.1 seconds behind. So I wonder perhaps if things are starting to catch up with the champion, and we'll see if Pope does get reeled back in over the course of the lap. We'll keep an eye out for this here. And further back, it's still Huff in third place, still 2.5, 2.6 behind, making no real progress in terms of these guys, but also the cars behind him aren't making any gains either. So they're all safe for the time being. Lucky trying to drop TJ here. He's about 3/4 of a second in front, and 10th Cannon's on his tail. 10th obviously looking for a few points off TJ in the Drivers' Championship. As it stands right now, they'll be fighting for what is 4th place's points, so 12. So 10th taking that place will gain 2 points on TJ. That'll put her 3 points behind the 6th spot. And Curtis, obviously down the order, could find himself in danger of being pushed further away in that fight. He was the lowest of the 3 cars in the standings going into this event. And things have not been great for him so far in terms of being caught up on the first lap.
Yeah, he got caught up in those first lap shenanigans, so it's way to do definitely for the bottom 4.
Ethan penalty there, 3 seconds multiple warnings. This is your 3rd drive to receive one of those this evening. We're going to lap 9 now. We're still sort of getting towards the halfway stage of the race here. I should think the medium tyres will last a bit longer than this. I'm wondering whether we'll see the two-stop in play, Ben, but I'm not entirely sure. You're sort of a bit more strategy oriented than that as TJ goes for it. Yep, good move.
You had to go for something different, otherwise he would have just been sat behind the fry for the rest of the lap. But sorry to cut you off there, Zach. Continue.
That's all right. By all means, I'm interested for your opinion in terms of tyre strategy here, because I mean, we've seen in the past, we've seen one-stop races happen here between the sort of the faster guys who can make those tyres run for longer. But would you take that risk given the increased tyre wear on this game, or would you go for go for a 2-stop? Is it, yeah?
Yes. Don't talk to me about tyres and around Qatar. I don't like them.
Well, look
I don't like them in general. Never mind Qatar.
Look here, truth be told, I've only ever done one career mode race around Qatar, so you know better than I do.
It is not enjoyable on the tyres.
Yeah, I do remember. Memory serves, I had to put a set of soft tyres on at the very end, and then I banged the fastest lap out. So
Yes.
I didn't score very hard. I think I scored like P8, P7, but yeah, it was alright.
Yeah, I think I've ever seen a video of that somewhere.
That was a test, Ben. You watched my channel. Thank you very much. All right, out of turn 16, and Grumio is back in DRS range. Now, Huff is closed a little bit here. He's 2.4 back now. He's trying to bring that gap a bit further forward in terms of chasing these guys down up front. Lucky is closing again on TJ. 10th Cannon sort of sat back here, trying to get involved, making no real progress as it stands at the moment as they're going towards turn 1. Lucky likely to be stuck behind TJ this lap as we see them go through turns 1 and into turn 2 now. That train is now about 8 cars strong here as they go through into turn number 4. Sorry, it's turn 3, sorry. And TJ still in complete control of that. But Lucky, I should think, will be looking to get around him sooner rather than later as the night train, the Starlight Express, if you will, make their way in through turns 5 and 6.
Something's got to disrupt this train, otherwise it will literally just be a train until at least the first round of pit stops anyway.
I should think
they've got to break it somehow.
I should think that the first set of pit stops will be the thing that breaks us up, Ben, if I had to guess.
Yes.
But you are right. I think we'll be looking largely at just a train where the top 2 fight each other, and then no real battle from there on out. But TJ and Lucky have been doing a fantastic job entertaining us so far. So hopefully they carry on in the second half of the Grand Prix, at least on the second stint. But we haven't seen anyone come in for a routine pit stop here. So we'll be looking to our leaders to see whether they will do that themselves, as Grumio again got DRS this time. I think he's kept it narrowly from Pope as they come towards the last corner. No, he's lost it this time. So Grumio not getting as much. So this will be Pope's chance to try and bolt, trying to establish a lead. It's Huff now sits 1.9 behind. Huff needs to get himself to work as well. As 10th now a lot closer to Lucky than Lucky is to TJ towards turn. We could see a move here for P5 potentially, as 10th doesn't go for it just yet. Lucky defends the inside. I thought for a second I was going to try and go for a send on TJ. Thinks better if it stays in line, but behind them it's all just single file here. Alvar is in the train behind. Ericsson's chasing him. Down in P14. Dan has actually managed to catch up to Cottony Goblin and get around him. So that's one of our 4 cars who fell back doing that. And Obsessed Gamer's come in for his first stop. Gone unnoticed there. Apologies, Obsessed, but he's on to set hard tyres now.
Yes, indeed. It's 10th has overtaken Lucky into turn 5? Turn 4? Turn 5? First right-hander.
That'll be turn 4.
Thank you, Zach. Good job, Yori.
That's all right. That's a good thing. The track maps on my other monitor next to me, but I struggled with it in qualifying because it was zoomed out. But I've got it properly now, so now I can reference it to my heart's content. 10th Cannon is openly pulling away from Lucky here, so they make their way out of turn 10 through 11. If anything, Ben, she looks more poised to try and take on TJ for that fourth spot with DRS in play on the main straight. So keep an eye on these two as they are around turns 12, 13, and 14. It's complex. It's a miracle we haven't seen more track limit drivers get warned or get penalties rather for track limits in this Grand Prix. But still a long way to go.
All Guru's just had a massive snap coming out at the final corner, albeit it's remained within DRS.
He's going back, and Huff has actually fallen away again as well. He's now back to being about 2.4 behind. He was 1.9 back a lap ago, but not a great lap as Lucky comes in. So one of our first drivers in this train coming into the pit lane. No one in the pack joining him. So we'll see how he comes out.
DJ as well. And Cook has also jumped JB into turn 1.
So a number of overtakes been made here as Lucky goes for his first stop of the Grand Prix. Hard tyres on that machine. With Huff still in the top 10, it's still P11 going down to points as it stands right now. Alvar's holding on to that last points paid place. Lucky will rejoin in a net P12 in terms of those positions. But Dan goes through past him. I mean, let's not forget, Lucky will be likely to be contending with these guys come the end of the Grand Prix if he keeps himself where he is now. Lucky emerges just in front of Imri, who's taking Cottony, and Che's going to follow him through. Closer contact there between the Williams and that Ferrari. But Che is through nice and safe, and Imri now let's try and take Lucky on.
Yeah, Imri's got a recovery driver along with Dan as well, who is 16.7 seconds behind Ericsson. Big job ahead of him.
So we'll see how the Merc handles getting around that McLaren. Obviously, with Dan where he is, the championship looks as good as done and dusted here with Grumio in second place. He just needs to make it round to finish. He needs to finish the Grand Prix with Huff in the P3, a top 5 finish in this race, be enough to score him enough points to maintain the championship. But in comes Pope now. The race leader pits.
Yes, I think we can also expect to see a move as Huff is also into the pit lane. TJ's also in. Wesley carries on another lap.
10th joins in. HB Cook staying out. So a number of cars are still on circuit here as they head down towards turn 1 again. You see Ethan staying out. Alvar, same thing. Ericsson, same thing. Pope is on to set hard tyres his way. 10th Cannon making no change. Davies been held for a split second there in the pit lane with RB. But hard tyres on that car. And I should think hard tyres to the end for everyone here. If not a second, if there's not going to be a third stint, there'll be hard tyres for everyone. But I should think the hards, if the mediums have done 12 laps, can the hards do 17? That's my question.
They should be able to, yeah. Obviously, depending on safety cars, virtual safety cars, red flags, occasionally stuff can change. So we'll see. I guess I've just seen JBA's in turn 1, and those tyres looked horrendous because they're so cold.
So JB's got some work to get him back up to temperature here. He runs in the 16th spot. As our top 6 to get to pit today, Grumio leads from Websy, HB Cook, Ethan, Alvar, and Ericsson, your top 6. Pope in P7, 10.4 back from the McLaren in that 6th spot. It's Huff 2.8 behind him. Dan in P9 now, so he's going to recover himself to that position there, but obviously not doing enough for Grumio to be stopped as it stands right now. We'll see whereabouts Dan comes out in front of these. He comes out around these guys. I think he'll put himself up to I'm guessing probably around sort of 4th place. As Grumio now comes into the pit lane here to make his first and what will likely be, I should think, final stop of the Grand Prix. If the mediums can do if the mediums can do 13 laps, the hard tyres should do 16. And Websy stays out there. Websy now assumes the lead for Aston Martin. HB Cook in 2nd place. Ethan in 3rd. It's going to be 4th place here for Alvar, and Ericsson into P5, so they'll all stay out. Grumio is going to emerge. It's going to be close here to him and Pope towards turn 1. Pope's going to need a good run here. Whole head of steam towards that first corner. Grumio the exit line.
Side by side. No, Pope will just about get the Haas into turn 1.
So Pope then reassumes his lead. Still looking for his first win of the season as the Williams driver, the season 11 drivers champion. And Huff will maintain that net 3rd place. 10th is there. Dan's in the pit lane here. So Dan's made a change on his set of hard tyres to go to the flag. And we'll see here in terms of what the other guys around him do. Obviously, Imri and Che were looking at hard tyres when Dan first came in. Dan was one of the 2 went mediums, as did Curtis Shepherd in P16 there. So we'll see as to what the game plan is for Imri and Che later on in the Grand Prix. I should think mediums.
Should think so too. What do you do if you're a hard runner? How bad are those tyres at the moment? I'd love to know.
I mean, I'm curious as to how long these top 5 will go for, in particular. As Websy leads HB Cook in through turns 15 and 16 to begin lap 15 of the Grand Prix. We're nearing the halfway stage now of this race. And yellow flag
Yellow
is
flag.
out. That's one of the Red Bulls. That is Curtis has gone for a spin, I think.
Yes, indeed, he has.
Recover the car. No damage done. So he's back on the racetrack again. Perhaps just damage done to his tyres. But he'll carry on here. Those tyres are 12 laps old, so he might be sort of nearing the point to come in and make a change. But it's been a difficult day for him so far.
Yeah, it would definitely not have over that spin.
And
You got
10th.
puncture? You're driving slow.
I'm sure you draw your attention away from Curtis for a second. I mean, look at the 10th Cannon. She's now 3 seconds up on TJ. TJ himself ahead of Imri and Lucky. So things are looking good for the RB drivers. He looks to try and, as we said earlier, at the top of the race, trying to get 6th place back from TJ in the Drivers' Championship. 10th has been up there all season and continues on her push as her point scoring run carries on. She scored points in the last 3 Grand Prix, Mexico, Brazil and Vegas. 7th, 6th and 8th. And it's 9th for her right now, but we should see again another place or two once she comes into the pit lane here. To my mind, she's running in a net 4th place.
Yeah, she's doing a good job. Really good job so far.
We'll see if it carries on in the second half. As Webster comes in through turn 14 and right, he's still leading the way. HB Cook chasing him 1.8 seconds to the gap between those two. It's another 1.7 to Ethan, 2.8 to Alvar, and Ericsson is about 7 tenths back. But 4 of those guys now have penalties. I was going to say 3. HB Cook winds up with 1 himself, so that's 3 seconds to his name. We've got 7 drivers on the rap sheet here for penalties to be given out over the course of the race, and we should obviously see them given back at the very end. But these guys, I should think, will all likely fall back to around the bottom of, if not out to the points, as the pit stops come through for them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where they emerge out. Obviously, they're going to be on much fresher tyres than those around them. And if they can go in a bit of a push, how are they going to cope on the mediums? There's Lucky Lamond now, so it's fast up at the Grand Prix.
So Lucky clearly still alive in this Grand Prix. He's pulled away a decent gap here from Imri and Che, who are going side by side towards the first corner. Che wins out on this occasion. So going through turn 1. Imri's got DJ on his tail there, so can't afford to be too complacent on defence as he makes his way in through turn 2. Obviously, DJ on red hot form as of the last couple of races. And just looking to try and continue that on for the time being, which he is on course to try and do. We'll see where he comes out when the top 5 make their stops. But you can see Pope is only 5.6 seconds back now from Ericsson in 5th place. And the overall gap from Pope to Websey is only 12 seconds. So big stuff there as he still continues to try and fight to put Grumio out of DRS range. But Grumio, knowing only these top 4, not concerned in the slightest.
No, definitely not. 100%. It looks like we may see Websey in the next lap or 2. Speaking around pitting, he's going to stay out 1 more lap.
We'll see who else joins him. HP Cook stays out. Ethan comes in, so he's one of your 5. And Ericsson joins him as well. So there's 2 of your stoppers. 3 more left to come in. Alvar, HP Cook, and Websey. Your top 3 in this race. Pope's going to emerge some way in front of them. We'll get a sense now as to who will come out in front of the pits. The last 5 guys to make their pit cycles. It's Ethan and Ericsson onto medium tyres to 1 set each. And they're going to fall out of the points, I should think. There's still a train coming through. It's Imri being chased by DJ down towards turn 1. He's lost DRS to Che in front. And DJ's making good progress up towards that first corner. There goes DJ on the inside. And in this stage, DJ now being the last point of the Grand Prix as they run. Huff obviously still in the top 10. So that makes the change there. Lucky Lambert still in P9. Things are looking good for Ferrari over McLaren right now. With Websey likely to pit, Alvar likely to pit. And Ericsson out of the points paying place as we run. So things looking good for Lucky still as it stands. You think he's on for what looks to be sort of around P6, perhaps P7 if Che catches him. But Che, DJ and Imri will not let him go too lightly.
I know 100% they'll be on him like a flash. And if there's anything that Alvin racing the top guys, prepare for the unexpected.
When did you race the top guys?
Portugal.
Okay,
Season 17.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that was here in the time.
That was a while ago now. We are looking at sort of about a year and a half since that happened, Ben. You have to find yourself a new moment to...
Please don't remind me.
Oh, here comes Webster. Okay, I'll take him out of it. Here comes Webster into the pit lane. HB Cook staying out on the circuit,
Okay.
so he'll lead. And Alvar joining in too, so only 1 more car's pit now. And Webster is obviously one of the guys running up front, was the guy running up front in this train. So we'll see here as to whereabouts he emerges. Let's not forget, Ethan Ericsson, Websey, I'm guessing Alvar as well, will all be on fresh tyres here, fresh medium tyres. So it'll be much faster compared to the cars around them, I should think. But for how long is the question?
Yes, looks like Grumio not on last lap, the lap before, and so lap 16. He completely ran out of deployment going into turn 1, so it looks like Grumio's got a bit of work to do. I wonder if he is actually carrying some sort of damage. Oh no, lucky.
Lucky disconnecting there. We'll hopefully be able to join back in quickly, and we won't see too many concerns from him as he obviously has got a train bearing down on him. Imri is pitted. He's down to P17 here. Che, I think, we're going to have to stop again as well to get himself to the flag. Yeah, we're getting to the point now where sort of last pit stops getting in the way, and we're going to see a one stop in this race to get to the end. But both Che and Imri pitting is going to make Lucky's job a lot easier here to try and bring things home. He's on for 8 points right now, which will still be big for Ferrari. Only put him a few points back from McLaren as they stand here. So looking good for that team as DJ runs in 8th place behind him. Che in P9, JB in P10. So JB on course for some points as it stands right now. Webbsy is half second back from him. And Lucky's rejoined, hasn't lost out at all here. Lost a bit of time to DJ, who may well try and take him on the run towards turn 1 next time round. But as it stands right now, HB still leading, but into the pit lane he comes now to make his change. The last car, I think, to stop in the Grand Prix, apart from Che, but everyone's made their stops now. And Pope leads Grumio here, still about 9 tenths. It has been the entirety of this Grand Prix so far. Pope looking for his first win of the season. Grumio looking for the championship.
Yes, indeed he is. Cook is taking those tyres 19 laps, 18 laps, sorry. Onto a 17, so let's see what we can do. Yellow flag in sector 3.
Slow car, that is Lucky going slowly down the... Is it Lucky going slowly down the main straight? I thought it was.
I think it were.
Lucky down to P11 here, so down the order now. I'm not quite sure as to what happened there.
Oh, everything goes round the outside of Cook. Can you pull it off?
Oh, that's close.
Oh. Centimetres in that.
Very tight. Centimetres, if that.
Preventing disaster for both of them.
Well, hopefully we'll get to that point. Although I say to go with twice things up. HB Cook now around Ericsson then into P12. Lucky currently in the last points paying place. Suddenly that difference for Ferrari not looking as big, and he's got some work to do in these last 11, 10 laps or so to get himself back up front. Che, I just think it's going to stop sooner rather than later at this stage.
Gomez ran wide. 10-15.
Wonder if we get a warning for that perhaps.
He lifted off, so I will just double check now, warning wise.
And Pope obviously carries on. He's still 8 tenths in front here. Grumio making gains with DRS, but nothing else for the time being. Nothing doing for the champion. Champion-elect as he begins the last 10 laps of the race.
Yes. Also worth noting, Hulfey's gained. Gained a second on these two.
So he has, yes, indeed. I went looking through the order for him. He's been there in 3rd place the entire time. All right, yeah.
Yeah, but so he's pitted. He just lost out massively. I wonder if he lost out.
Well, things are getting a bit more interesting than for Huff as he tries to reel these guys in. He needs 6 tenths off the 2 leaders. If they start to fight, then Huff may well close in as Imri puts the fastest lap in. He's currently P17, and the race I think long gone for Imri now. I should think. Yeah,
it's a shame it all got caught up on that one. He's not been able to recover. On a side note, though, I'll just say, warning-wise, Pope's on 0, Grimmer's on 2, so Grimmer's got to be on his best behaviour.
We'll see if he adheres to that. And, of course, his last 9 laps, he knows that if he can't afford to lose out to Huff. 10th is there in 4th place. 10th doing remarkably well here for RB. TJ in P5. Currently, that's a 3-point gain for 10th, 15 to 12 in terms of full-time drivers being put on the order. And that'll mean that 10th will sit just 2 points back from TJ going into next week's race in Abu Dhabi. And obviously 4 rounds to go, plenty of time for that fight for P6 to carry on. Curtis, though, last of the running cars. Things aren't looking good for Red Bull's Constructors' Championship ambitions to try and catch up to Sauber and Mercedes. But Mercedes, no one really in the driver's seat for any of those teams here. All of them are currently running outside of the top 10 at the minute. Sauber, Mercedes, and Red Bull. So only TJ scoring points for him. Oh.
So Che had to obviously opt for a 2-stop because of what happened on lap 1. And Kurt's gone around the outside of Conley Goblin at the hairpin instead of 2.
So 1 place game back for Curtis then. As Che's on the set of medium tyres, he's away for Williams. And we'll see how he looks when he gets back on the circuit again. He's going to emerge behind Imri in P16. P16 for Imri, sorry. P17 for Che. What was the car a bit on pit exit? Courtney Goblin with the penalty. That's his 3rd of the evening as far as I know. Yep, 3rd penalty. Curtis has 3 seconds. Same for Obsessed, Ericsson, Albon, HB Cook. And Ethan's got 3 as well. So on a day where Alpine are looking for points, to try and outscore Aston Martin, it's not looking good for them right now. But Webbsy up there in P6. So 8 points going Aston's way, plus the 4 for DJ, sorry. And obviously added place for all of them because of Huff. So Aston Martin still very much in control of that fight for 6th place. Sorry, for 7th place, apologies.
Yep, just switching things up here, Zach. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Well, I'd say 4th downwards has done a brilliant job. 4th down to 10th has done a fantastic job so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. As Grumio now goes to the lead around the outside from Pope there, so it's kicked off there, Ben, as they go through turn 1. But Grumio has all of a sudden come blasting forward. He's down into the race lead. And with 8 laps to go, he's on course for the win and the title. But Pope will not let him go just yet, I shouldn't think.
No, he shouldn't. Whether those tyres are dying off now because he's on an uphold, medium hard, should I say, sorry. We're picking up a bit of tyre wear to the point where it's noticeable. Obviously, Grumio is on a lap younger tyres, so we'll see if Grumio can just waltz away.
Waltz away indeed. We'll see if he can, as he'll see his tyres are a lap fresher than Pope's. Half still 2 seconds back, so falling away here. That didn't repair that damage on the pit stops, just to maintain his position. 10th is closing the gap to Huff as far as I know. Yes, she is. Look at that. 1.2 back.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, 10th.
10th's on for a podium.
She's on for the points for a podium, but I think she'll want the place if we know 10th cannon. As Grumio penalty, there it is.
There we go. We were speaking about it just a short while ago.
And that will give 10th something to fight for here. She's only a second back from that penalty range. 4 seconds the gap, make that 3.8. So Grumio may well end up finishing 3rd to perhaps 2 Pope and then to 10th. But Grumio's now got to get on the gas and just try and bolt. But here comes Pope though, back down the main straight towards turn 1, blasting past the former champion up into the lead here at turn 1 once again. And Grumio falls back to 2nd, 3.9 seconds. The gap from P1 to P4, and 10th gaining a little bit here as Websy passes TJ behind him.
Looks like there's no move. Keeps our of Imri on Lucky Lambert as well.
That is HP Cook.
Sorry, my bad. I don't know where I got Imri from.
Well, Imri is currently sat by himself at the minute, leaving turn 16. He's got Che hunting him down by 2.2 seconds to gap. Che's tyres 3 laps fresher than Imri, so I should think we'll see some late concern for those two towards the end of the race. But a tough day for both of them. And Dan on it day, it was down in P14. Not that he wanted to have. And I think while we all knew that Grumio winning the title was a formality at some point in these last 6 races, we were all hoping that Dan would help us last a bit longer. And he did last week with a win in Vegas, but it looks as though time may have caught up this round.
10th has got to be careful on their tyres. Because she's literally just had a snap going through turn 7. And it's cost about, what, I'd say 4 or 5 tenths. And those tyres on 10 lap old. 10 laps old now, so 10th's got to be mindful of the position. She's 7 seconds in front. Will she know the reserves are eligible for points? We'll find out.
Grumio takes the lead back on lap 24 now. Just 6 more laps to go in this Qatar Grand Prix. Pope running in 2nd position. Huff still in 3rd. 10th still in 4th. Huff has been unchallenged and has done no challenging since the early portions of the Grand Prix. And now has found himself in no man's land the majority of the race. It's HP Cook now passing JB into turn 1. HP Cook making serious progress here for Kick Sauber. He is their point scorer right now, as Mercedes obviously still out the points too. So Sauber on a good day here at the minute.
Has to get a move on for Kick Sauber. They're in a fight with Red Bull and Mercedes. So we'll see what the Checo Flood brings. There's still 6 laps left to go.
I just want to draw your attention to Ericsson. I actually forgot to mention this when we got underway. Ericsson currently nursing an injury and valiantly I'm not sure as to what the details are, but he is valiantly carrying on here. So full credit to Ericsson for going the distance as it stands. And with the right bit of luck, he may still end up scoring a point or two if he puts himself in the right place. If he gets himself into P11, he's currently chasing Alvar. He's in DRS range there, so perhaps looking for an attack. But we'll see how he does. But obviously, I have to say, fair play to him for carrying on. And hopefully he's not putting himself under too much strain. But we'll see how he wraps things up.
Yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed they can get to the end. Kind of looking now, obviously P12 if you discount the reserves. That's like, got a bit of a fight for the lead, Zach.
Grumio again moving back in front. They're side by side through turns 1 and 2. Pope around the outside, might make it work on corner exit.
That's brave.
And the more they fight, the more they could allow 10th and Huff into the picture. Grumio around the outside maintains his lead.
It's
Huff,
Cook. Yeah, sorry to cut you off again, Zach, but Cook has just made a move on DJ. He's now up into 8, so Cook is making lightning progress on the field.
Well, there you go then. 23 points currently the gap between the gap between Sauber and Mercedes going into today. That gap's going to close just a little bit here with both Dan and Obsessed out the points, and HP Cook there getting what will be 7th place his points. That it'll be 6 to his name, and that'll move him a little bit closer. That'll actually move him in front of AT in the Drivers' Championship. HP Cook taking P9 as it stands in the standings, so progress made on his part, and he's there. From there, he's about sort of a good 30 points back from the fight going on for 6th place. So he's had a real resurgence, HP Cook, after a tough first half of the season. He's really recovered himself quite nicely, and we'll hopefully see this form carry on into next season if he chooses to stick around with us, which we hope he will, as we hope everyone does. As well as he gets hit with the penalty himself now, and TJ will be allowed back into the equation for 5th place.
Yes, indeed it will. And then there's a bit of a fight behind. Obviously, Cook is on the pressure mediums and is already nearly on the back of the Alpine.
We'll keep an eye on HP Cook here. Pope tries to set up Grumio again. No progress this time. As HP Cook, as you say, Ben, yes, indeed, closing in. There's just 4 laps remaining. Grumio is 4 laps from the title. I'm sure he'd like to try and cap this one off with the win as well. And with 0,
Yes,
I mean, the penalty is in play for him, I just remembered, so perhaps not. But I have to wait and see if he can pull 3 seconds.
We'll see. Anytime will tell. Here's a question, Zach. You may be able to answer it straight away. Obviously, Huff's ineligible for points for them being a reserve driver. Therefore, 10th would obviously inherit the podium. What would you do in this situation? Would you continue on, or would you just try and bring the car home?
I mean, truthfully, logically, I'd try and bring the car home, but if I was really tempted, I feel like I could try and catch Huff with nothing to lose. Given that Webster's 7, 8 seconds behind, I'd try and go for it, but I back off if I got to a point where realistically I was in danger, perhaps not finishing the race, or if I know I wasn't going to catch. But 10th will be scoring a podium regardless. So I think she'll probably look at it the way logic flies. I saw Emery get hit with a penalty there. That's 3 seconds for him. Number of cars with penalties there, of course, including your race leader. So Pope's on course to win this thing, unless he gets the penalty of his own. That's what Grumio's hoping for here, I should think. And the gap between Grumio and 10th is still 4.5 seconds. So 10th as it stands, still on course for 3rd place, but Pope will win the thing. Half will finish 2nd, I should think, as it stands right now, if he stays in that 2.7 margin to Grumio, but obviously will lose his points. But again, sheer pride on the line for Huff, as he's had a fantastic race here, and sometimes the quietest races are the best ones.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, if you can just quietly go about your business. 10th, I know I keep going back to 10th Cannon, but they did their moves early on. Not really had much to fight with, obviously gaining here, losing out there. At the moment, well, whilst you can see the Alpine of Huff, nose on for podium. I mean, she's done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up now because I keep muddling up my words again.
Welcome to being a commentator. I do it all the time. 10th carries on, still there in 4th place, and no threat from behind. Websy 7.5 back with that penalty to boot as well, so he'll be quite way off at the flag. TJ will be looking to try and close that gap if he can. He's only got to close a few more tenths, and he'll take P5 away outright in this race. I mean, obviously, he's looking for it regardless. Ethan there in P7, and 10th Cannon as it stands. As I say, doing a great job here as it stands, scoring those 5 points that she needs on TJ to tie the score for P6. But 2 laps away, though, anything can still happen. And Grumio is getting to work here. He's put out DRS range, and Grumio now needs to try and get away and pull 2 seconds to win this race and take the title with it.
Has to, yeah, just looking further on down the midfield. That seems to be where we're in the fights at the minute as well. We've had the fights for the majority of the race down in the midfield towards the lower pack. It looks like Cook's progress has been halted slightly, albeit as he got a run on the Alpine, make around the outside of turn number 2, you know.
Dan
That's where indeed, Dan's out.
And that will confirm it then, regardless as to what happens here. I should think that
They're
Dan's
brilliant
got more
champion.
progress. Yep, obviously Grimmy, he still needs to make it to the line, as far as I know. Although actually, so next scrap that, Dan is out of the order completely. He retires the car, Emery penalty, and Grumio then, I think regardless of where he finishes now, he'll maintain the 100-point gap, and he will be your driver's champion in a lap and a half's time. 1.3 in front of Pope. I think the effort might just fall short. I can't see him gaining another second and a half or so, another 1.7 seconds the next lap and a bit. So you can just sort of slow down, take this one in, and looking here at another title as he rounds turn 16. To begin the battle lap here in Qatar, it's been a fantastic race for both cars as Dan pulls the car up at the exit of turn 1 and going towards turn 2.
Yes, indeed it does. I always find it a bit weird when you retire in the pit lane. Your AI comes back onto the track to then retire.
It's a weird one. Unfortunately, there's no mechanic in the game for retiring in the pits. Like, the way we would in real life. Obviously, there's no. I mean, there is an animation for the team to bring the car in, but that's obviously used for practice and qualifying. So perhaps we'll see addressed in F127. But for now, though, on F125, Grumio continues his domination. He's 1.7 seconds, almost 1.8 in front of Pope. Pope's still on course to take victory for the first time this season. I'm sure as much as he'd like to win the race outright himself, he's at the pace to do it all evening. Grumio shouldn't pull that gap. I should think he will be not only the race winner, he will be second place in the race, but he'll be the world champion as well.
Yes, indeed he will. So, as of when he rounds the checker flag, he will become world champion.
As he nears the third and final sector, he's just 5 corners now from home. It's been a remarkable season for Grumio, one of his best by a number of measures. To put it simply, he's been fantastic all campaign long. 14 wins, 17 podiums, 8 pole positions, 12 fastest laps, and overall dominance. Another penalty for him there. And that will push him down the order too. I should think he'll be down to third place, maybe fourth, but it doesn't matter though because Grumio rounds the last corner.
Scannon's going to pick up second.
And Grumio spins the car to the line. He's going to cross the line first. Pope wins the race, but Grumio's done the job. And it's 11th heaven for your long-standing champion.
Oh dear.
Salve Grumio is the Season 20 Races Driving League champion. It'll be a victory for Pope. Second place for Huff, third for Grumio's. Everyone's going into it. They're all seeing it now. Websy P5, HP Cook P6, TJ7. Oh, that's a first. Quite literally, everyone's going for it. And everyone's just trying to get involved. Well, there we go then. DJ P7, Lucky P8, HP Cook P9, JB 10th, Ethan 11th, Alvar 12th, Shay 13th, Obsessed Ericsson 14th, Obsessed 15th. Imri might get him on the line here. Imri in P16, 17th to Curtis, and 18th to Cockney Goblin. That might still change here as they come through to complete the race. But a number of cars, I think, all got the message very, very quickly there. And there we go then. Pope wins the race, gets his first win of the season, but Grumio is the champion.
Congratulations, Grumio. Congratulations, Pope. Probably deserved both the race win. It's got yellow flag in sector 3. Please don't tell me. Oh, we've had a bit of an incident. Curtis ran out of fuel.
Curtis, I think, has got a puncture.
Ran out of fuel.
Yeah, no, it's fuel. Sorry, I saw the car going up and down. I thought for a second he'd lost it. But there we go. Currently last corner. He'll take P17 at the end then. But I think that unless Curtis can make it to the line the next 12 seconds, which he should do, that'd be still be. I mean, it's gonna be close here. You never know. We'll see if Courtney might end up with the place still. I don't know. Ups the line, and he does.
Yes.
So Curtis P18 then. That'll do us. There's your running order. And yeah, I mean, Grumio's dominated this season. He's dominated from the get-go, and no one's really like stopping him. But Pope will be satisfied with his first win of the campaign. He's been waiting for that for quite some time now. And winner. And Huff gets on the podium too. Let's not forget, despite being a reserve, fantastic race for him too. He'll be a credit should he join us next season as a full-time driver. And you've got to feel for Quigley as well, who obviously went down into DNF early on in the race. Grumio, though, in third place on the day, but in the end will end up winning the Season 20 title without too much concern there. Pope celebrates. He's been waiting for this one for quite some time, as I say. And that'll do us for your action here in Qatar on track as we'll look to the final results in just a moment. Taking things celebration under the lights here in Qatar. And with 4 more rounds to go, we can sort of settle things down and fight purely for the Constructors' title. Pope wins the race then from Huff in second place, Grumio third, 10th Cannon takes P4, Webbsy rounds out your top 5, big points for Aston Martin tonight. TJ P6, DJ P7, another great point scoring finish for him. Lucky gets 8th in the end, so progress made then. He will take some points away from McLaren in that chase for the 9th spot. HP Cook P9, JB P10 will get points under there as well. Ethan P11, Alvar P12, Che, Ericsson, Obsessed, Imri, Courtney and Curtis, your order to round them out. Dan retired with 3 laps to go, goes down as the DNF. Goes down as classified, but 3 laps down. And quickly early on, your pole sitter tonight, your only DNF from this Grand Prix. And yeah, just a brilliant race all around. And you'll get to see it here. There he is, Salve Grumio, your Season 20 Drivers' Champion, his 11th career RDL Championship, 11th heaven for Grumio. In the words used to once describe Jamie Vardy when he scored in 11 consecutive games in that miraculous title-winning season for Leicester 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago to this point now. But there you go then, Ben. I mean, you obviously, for the dominance Grimio's had this season, no words in that sense. He's been brilliant all campaign long.
Always is.
Right, so there we go then. That'll do us for your racing coverage, and the post-race interviews will get underway shortly. Whether we'll get Grimio in, I mean, it's rare that we do. When we got him in last season, that was the first time in about 3 years that I got him for an interview, so I'll have to wait and see here. Yeah, I think we'll get Pope in as well. But yeah, Ben, give me your thoughts on that.
Good race that.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, that is one way of putting it. And we have got an interviewee in already here. We've got JB in, JB crossed the line in 10th place. JB, mate, point scoring finish, but that was a Celtic one, for at least for Qatar standards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened on that one. I seemed to get away unscathed. Quite lucky, really, that a few of the top guys got damage. And then, yeah, for me, it was quite plain sailing, really, in terms of just knowing what I need to do, which was not get any track limit warnings and keeping it in a straight line. And somehow ended up in the points.
Fair enough. I mean, sometimes that it can just happen that way. Tyres were a sort of big call for us to look over the course of the Grand Prix. Was the one stopper given for you over the course of the race, or was there a chance you were looking at the two?
No, the one stop was definitely the way to go. I was really worried heading in. I wasn't actually going to be able to do it because my tyre wear in practice and in single player Grand Prix was much higher than it was in the session. So maybe it was a bit cooler. I don't know. But yeah, 12 laps on the mediums and then the other 17 on the hards. And I think my front left, which was the worst, was close to 80% by the end. So it was touch and go. And I know that Curtis got a puncture at 76%. So when you get to that point, you're really playing with fire. But just managed to bring it home.
Obviously, up front, Grumio finished in 3rd place, and to my mind, obviously pending steward support, but should be more or less confirmed as the season 20 champion. Any words on obviously Grumio's continued dominance in the league, obviously as the league owner?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. 11 times champion now means he's won over half the seasons we've done. Quite remarkable, really. I hope someone can step it up next season if Grumio is still here. You never know. But he's been in a class of his own again, and well done to him. Provisionally.
Yep, yeah. That's wait to see for during the week. And obviously back onto your case in terms of Abu Dhabi next week. How's that as a circuit? Is that a track we're looking forward to, or perhaps not so much?
I mean, I would have said this week I probably didn't have much of a chance, but this they're similar tracks in a way. I mean, there's a bit more downforce required, but these Middle East tracks feel a bit the same to me. I don't see why not. Unfortunately, at the moment, I seem to be on a one-on, one-off streak of getting points. Didn't get any last week, got some this week. Hopefully, actually 4 points with Huff being reserve, and I think someone ahead of me is going to get a penalty yet. So it'd be nice to pick up points next week, but considering the result this week, I'm not too fussed if it doesn't get my way.
So we'll see if JB can make it 2 on the trot next week in Abu Dhabi. But obviously, congratulations on the points finish, and we'll see obviously where it comes out to post steward support. We'll come down to your race winner. Pope comes across the line for his first win of the season. Pope, obviously, I know you crossed the line behind Grumio, but you did the job, and you were dominant most of the day, and you're the race winner for the first time all season. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, finally. Jeez, took its time. But yeah, it was a good race, so I'm happy.
I mean, obviously, the start was fairly chaotic. You were sort of in amongst those guys, kicking us off from the second row. Did you catch a piece of it at any point, or were you just sort of trying to weave through yourself?
Nah, skill issue, really. No, in all seriousness, that's the unfortunate thing about when you have an AI driver. Obviously, if you lag out, it's just a shame. So it's a shame for Quickly, but it's also a shame for the drivers that do get caught up in the unpredictable nature of the AI. Yeah, it's a shame.
Obviously, we saw Grumio nab two penalties in the last sort of 5-6 laps or so with the track limits. Were there concern for you at all over the course of the day?
No, I think I got one warning all day. It's pretty easy, to be honest, around this track, in my opinion, to not exceed. So, yeah, felt pretty confident. I do love this track. I think it's fantastic.
We'll take the we'll take the champion's opinion on that front. And going into Abu Dhabi next week, and obviously still 4 rounds to go. Is there a chance we can get one more win out of you, or is that all you got?
I think that's all I got. I mean, life's getting very busy at the minute, and yeah, I feel like that's taking a priority. So no practice, but apparently no practice does me good. I mean, I win now, so yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, but I doubt it.
We'll keep an eye out for Pope next week in Yas Marina, and we'll see in the last 4 rounds of the season in the 3 reverse circuits. We'll come now to 10th Cannon, who winds up in the end in 4th place, but once Huff gets moved in the order, it'll be 3rd place via 10th. So we'll call it a podium finish. Yeah, I mean, fantastic job. I mean, you drove brilliantly that race.
Thank you. I was not expecting that at all. I had like next to no practice for this. Usually put in about like 30 minutes to an hour of practice before each race, and I did maybe like 15 minutes. So I thought I was going to struggle, but I thought, given what JB said, I thought the tyre wear was going to be really bad, but it was actually quite manageable. The wear on the hards got me a bit more than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting those to wear at all, and they wore quite. They were quite bad at the end, but I was just trying to give everything to catch Huff. I think that's, of all my podiums, all of them have come with a reserve in front of me, which I'm a little bit annoyed about. But I mean, a podium's a podium. I'm not going to complain.
To my mind, it's karma for getting the podium the one time the year reserve. But in terms of again, I'll ask about the tyre wear. I said, would you agree that pit stops are largely sort of where you moved the furthest forward in the race today?
Honestly, no. I think before the pit stops, I was behind TJ and Lambert. Lambert pitted a lap before everyone else. I was expecting him to come out ahead of everyone, but I guess he came out behind everyone. And then right before, I think it was on lap 12, right before I was about to pit, I passed TJ. So I was kind of in front of that battle by then. So I didn't realize I was going to come out in front of everyone, because as soon as I came out the pits, I was just gunning it, because that's kind of what I do. But yeah, all kind of worked out in the end. Not really anything to. The rest of the race was kind of samey. I was just trying to chase down what's his name again?
Huff.
Oh, I forgot his name. Huff. That's the one. Yeah, I was trying to chase him down. Couldn't catch him for the life of me. He was rapid. He had damage somehow, which I only learned after the race, which explains why he was faster in the corners. But yeah, no, it's a good race, good fun.
And going forward to Abu Dhabi next week as a circuit, you've had on days and off days there in the past, and looking forward to the rest of the fight with TJ in the Drivers' Championship. Are you still confident you can take P6?
Still no, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. I think I've got a good swing on him in points from this race. I don't know how many, but I know that obviously it's going to be a close fight. I'm still going to give it my all. Admittedly, like I said, I don't think I'm going to win this battle, but I mean, I'm not the person to like just give in until like I'm mathematically out of it, because I mean, why would I? Every point matters.
Well, fighting to the bitter end, then will be 10th over these last 4 races. Hope to see you perhaps in a position as high as this again soon. And we'll come now last of all to HB Cook, who comes home in the 9th spot. HB Cook, yeah, I mean, you're sort of in the thick of it in terms of the chaos today. Talk us through it from your end.
I probably have to be very careful with what I say. Well, let's be honest, I think I was raging quite a lot in the opening few laps. I don't know what happened. I think Ethan disconnected at the start, which caused absolute havoc. People deciding who deserves, how much room people deserve to defend and attack. But I think once people calmed down, I think I had a decent race. The hards went longer than expected. I think me and my mate in another call, I was saying tonight, I don't know if these will hold out, but luckily they did. Got a 3-second, which is very on the limit, I'll be honest. So hopefully I can get it moved up to P6, but at the end of the day, it's points. But it is what it is.
Obviously, you're one of the drivers who went quite long on the first day on the hard tyres. Do you still stand by that strategy, or would you have gone for the mediums on the start if you could do it again?
I will 100% stay on the hards. I think realistically, I was behind, I think, with JB on lap 5, and you were all over the place, and I was pretty much waiting for the moment I could get in. But obviously, when you're in a DRS around Qatar, it's also hard. And I think obviously when people don't want to go for moves on each other a lot, obviously because there's obviously simulation damage, you've just had to pick your moment. And I thought I picked my moment well, obviously on the hards and on the mediums.
Fair enough. I mean, it's definitely been a strong run of points for you in the second half of the season, in particular. That's another point score. So 6 in your last 6 races is still quite a good run. I think it's a more consistent run than perhaps some of the guys up front as well. So, I mean, is that something you think you can carry forward to the rest of the season?
Hopefully. Obviously, Abu Dhabi is a track I enjoy a lot. And then I'm not sure at the 3 reverse tracks. It's more what happens when I actually turn up to the track and see how it is. I remember like last week we were saying about this one with the same. So hopefully it can continue, but with the dirty air and stuff like that, you just never know. And obviously it also depends on what incidents happen on the day. You might get caught up in one that's not your fault, or somebody's just being stupid towards us one. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully take the points run going, but we're just going to take it race by race.
So same as always, there, HP Cook, race by race as we head towards our last few rounds. Ben, my Discord's gone off. Is there anyone else who's in with us? Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you. No, I believe that's it.
In that case, then, any final words before we sign off?
No, well then, it's been a great race. Thank you for having me in the commentary box once again, Zach, and I'll catch you next week.
Yep, and you'll be able to catch all the action next time out from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix taking place on the 4th of May as we enter our last 4 rounds of the championship. Congratulations again to Grimio for at least provisionally securing the Drivers' Championship this season. And I hope you'll join us all next week in Abu Dhabi. For that, though, thanks so much for watching the stream. As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future audio content. I've been Tech RC. Have a fantastic week, and we shall see you all next time.